Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of From the Top, presented by Armina Stone. And I am so excited. This is actually the first podcast we've ever done with Zoom. We are Zooming right now with these two guys, Mikey and Big Bob from the 96.1 KISS Morning Freak Show. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. I wish we could be in studio with you, but at least we get to hang out for a while here and chat it up and do whatever. It's fun. It's nice. It's fun. I'm excited.
Fun.
We are so happy that you are here with us today, and there's so much I want to get into and ask the both of you.
Let's do it.
But we got to start with Armina Stone because you two are the original people who I feel like, at least in my book, introduced me to Armina Stone. I first heard about Armina Stone because of your jingle, because I listen to KISS all the time. You are the reason why I know about it.
I think when Emery first came to us with Armina Stone and everything, we met with him, and it was just a feeling of, you know, the countertops and the fanciness. And me and Bob just kept saying that back and forth. We're like, fancy and nice countertops, and we were just going, ooh, ooh, ooh. And then all of a sudden it just turns into, Ooooo Armina Stone. And we were like, that seems to sort of work. We couldn't stop saying it back and forth to each other. We were kind of laughing, just going, Ooooo Armina Stone. And, you know, when you're doing commercials and stuff, there's different lengths. And we had like 15 seconds. And we're like, all right, we got 15 seconds. We got to do something quick that will sort of stand out or maybe sort of catch people's ears. So, Ooooo Armina Stone it was.
I love it. I mean, it's in my head all the time. And not even with Armina Stone. I mean, of course, that was the one that I first noticed. But you guys do it with pretty much everything. Get-Go, What They Got at Get-Go, Henny Jewelers. How do you come up with all of these creative jingles? They really stick in your head.
I don't really know. It's just
I
sort
don't
of
know.
We just sort of feel it out, and I feel like it's different for every client, every person we work with. Like, there are some clients that don't necessarily get a jingle, but there are some that it just, if we feel it and it feels right and it works, you know, Shenderovich and Fishman, like there's all these different partners we've worked with over the years that, you know, once a jingle sort of fits, then whoever we made the jingle for kind of goes with it. And then when they see other people saying it to them personally or people that work with them, they know it works. So then it just never changes. So like,
I don't think anybody's actually asked us ever to like do a jingle specifically. Like, I think it's just something we've done naturally, and then it's just they've all kind of stuck. And you know, once people are repeating it to you, you're just like, oh, that's catchy, that works.
Yeah, some people might not get it at first because I know one of our bigger clients, like Window Nation, like we do a little Window Nation jingle, and they are like not a jingle company. They've never done jingles or anything like that, but we never really knew that. So when we partnered up with them probably like 3 years ago or so, we did a jingle in their commercial, and they came back to us. They're just like, yeah, we usually don't do jingles, but for some reason this one works. And now they sing it to us all the time, and they're like, thank you guys for coming up with this. Whatever you do in a commercial you read for us, just make sure there's that jingle at the end. And that's how it works with a lot of our sort of clients or people that are part of our show. And it's good for us because we get to sort of be fun and creative, and we don't take ourselves too seriously either. So instead of just reading a commercial sort of, you know, verbatim or reading a script, we got to come up with something sort of fun. And, you know, most clients that are just local here in Pittsburgh, they get us and they get our show. We've been doing it for long enough. So they know if they want to be associated with us in our show, they know that they might get something a little bit different back than just your standard sort of commercial read, I guess.
It's so much more fun. I truly love it. But the Armina Stone jingle is my absolute favorite. And you both were on billboards all over the city. Am I right? I know there is a great photo that I saw this morning of you, Bob, in the tub without your shirt on, and Mikey, you're just kind of behind him with a rose.
I think that was an idea we brought up our first meeting when we came to Armina Stone. We're just like, they had this big soaker tub in the lobby at the time, and we're just like, what if I get in and put rose petals all over? We were kidding, actually. We're like, what if I get in and throw rose petals all over me or something like that? And there's like, you do that? And you're like, yep, yes I would. Let's put it on a billboard. Let's go.
That was really the first day we met Emery. The first day we ever even went to the Armina Stone showroom, and it was actually when we were walking out. It was almost like we had wrapped up our sort of intro with each other and everything, and we were sort of walking out.
I think we were just trying to say something funny. Like
we were just joking around, just like, oh, that'd be a good billboard if Bob was in that tub and everything. And then it just spiraled out of control. He's shirtless, he's covered in rose petals and things
Emery's
like that.
got a full photo shoot going on. There's a full camera crew there, lighting.
I remember Emery was just like, are you guys serious? And we were just like, we weren't really, but something tells me that we can't joke too much around you, because if we have a crazy idea, you might actually make it happen. And then like a month and a half later, sure enough, you could drive down the parkway and see Bob, shirtless, covered in rose petals in the nice Armina Stone billboard.
We need to bring that back. I want that back on the parkways.
It's still out there
It's
someplace.
so
I'm sure
funny.
there's a hard copy of it somewhere.
Yeah, but that was fun.
love
That
it.
was a lot of fun.
Well, you both have such a great relationship with Emery, the owner. So what do you think about how he has, grown and evolved over the years, even from when you first met a few years ago, and looking at how he has expanded even here in Cranberry Township?
It's amazing. Emery,
I've never met a guy that knows more people. Like, he knows everybody.
Yeah,
he really does.
He's the king of networking. So if you, follow Armina Stone on everything in social media, one day it'll just be like, oh, there's Emery with a new person. There's Emery with a new person. Oh, here's Emery. He's made friends with Ryan Shazier now. And it's just like, oh, he's at the Riverhounds game with the Tuffy, the owner. And it's just like, Emery is like Pittsburgh Pokemon. He's like, gotta catch them all. Like, anybody who he finds, I feel like, interesting or, he sort of vibes with, he is going to become friends with them. But, Armina Stone has grown so much just in the couple years that we've been working with Emery and everyone at Armina Stone. So, opening up the new showrooms, like, Celina, I was with you at the opening of the place there in Cranberry, and it's unbelievable. And it doesn't surprise me, because I think, going back to when we made the Armina Stone jingle, just thinking about what the company's about and, fancy and sort of this upscale and classy sort of thing. That's exactly what the showrooms are like too. So even going to the one in Cheswick and then seeing the one in Cranberry, it's like, oh, this, Armina Stone is just like growing by leaps and bounds. But it's cool to sort of be, I'm sure you experience it too, Celina. It's cool to sort of be along for the ride with that, just to see the company growing and expanding.
Grow, yeah.
Oh, I know. It's so amazing. And I love being here. It's so cool to podcast in this beautiful studio and just be talking to you two right now. I'm excited. Usually when we do, I do a lot of Zoom interviews with my work with Pittsburgh Today Live, and I was so excited to get back to in-person interviews, but this for me is cool because we usually have all of our guests in the studio, so this is a neat look. I'm loving this today.
By
you
the way,
guys are at home.
Your studio is way nicer than anything that we've had at a radio station.
It is.
In years.
The first time I saw that podcasting studio, that's what I said. I was just like, this is nicer than I think any station we've ever worked at in our entire radio career.
Me too.
I was joking with Emery. I'm just like, listen, when it eventually all falls apart for me and Bob, we can just do our show from here every day. Like, you have all the equipment we need right here. You basically have a podcasting studio that's better than anything I've seen.
You actually could. That would be really cool. But you guys have been doing your radio show and your podcast, pretty much everything at home since last year.
Yeah, our company, iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia Pittsburgh, we're like in the middle of going to a new building right now. So Obviously, the pandemic and stuff has altered those plans a little bit. But yeah, we've been doing the show at home for well over a year now. And we had to work through some kinks and everything. And, at sort of the beginning of the pandemic, people were just happy we were there because there was so much uncertainty, I think, of back in March, April of 2020. Nobody really knew what was going on. And I think we're more used to pandemic life now. But people were just happy that the people that listen to us every morning at such a time of uncertainty that we were just there live. I sort of joke with Bob because I say, we were just there and present at the beginning of the pandemic. I don't know how much we were necessarily doing a normal show because it was more so just conveying health facts and facts about what was happening, and this is the policy here and this is the policy there. It was a very uncertain time then. And I always joke about Bob because I'm like, man, people actually expect good radio shows from us now. What happened to March 2020 when they were just happy that we were there and doing a live show? I'm like, now people actually expect us to do good radio. And I'm like, man, March 2020 it wasn't fun because it was the start of the pandemic, but people were just like, hey, you guys are on today. Thank you for being there.
That's all they cared about.
That's all they cared about. It was. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you guys have such an early schedule and you're used to it at this point, but when do you typically wake up in the morning for the show and how much prep work goes into it, like the morning of?
Working from home is woo. That extra hour of sleep I get working from home, it's such a treat. Usually I get up around 4:30, depending on, the day, whatever. If I want to hop in the shower real quick, I'm a morning shower. That's part of the process of waking up for me. But yeah, there's usually an hour or so prep before, but there's prep all day and prep all night. Like I feel like our show never really stops. Like the prepping never stops for the next show. It just kind of cycles through. And with Twitter and our listeners sending us stuff too, it always helps. But it never really stops.
Yeah. I mean, I usually go to bed maybe like 10 o'clock, but yeah, working from home, you get that extra hour of sleep and, even bad weather days in the wintertime when the roads are snowy, I kind of want to just keep my at-home setup because there are certain mornings and, you've woke up early plenty of times before for work, Celina, and sometimes you get out there before the roads are really treated and you're just like, what am I doing here? Like, this is a danger even going to work. So I'm sort of looking forward to those snowy mornings when I can just come downstairs, connect with Bob and do the show like that, even when, we're sort of back in the studio and everything.
Oh, that would be so nice. How many years now have you two been working together on the show?
Oh God.
This is where we just start feeling really, really old. I think we've been doing the show we've had the morning show now at KISS for, I don't know, is it 16, Bob? Is it 16 years or 15 or?
Wow.
It's, I think we're on year 17.
All right then. I undersold it.
That's amazing.
2004.
Okay, so hold on. 2004.
I know.
Yeah, do you want to do the math?
Oh, no. You don't want me to do the math.
Okay.
If anybody, you can see my brain working right now.
It's 17, Bob. You're right.
Yeah,
17 years. But
that's why we're in the media.
Yeah, I think
we don't do math.
The good thing for me and Bob is that we started so young doing this. Like, we were like a rare case in radio, especially for like a market size like Pittsburgh, which is sort of like it's a bigger sort of medium market. And for somebody or, a show to be a morning show, you would usually have to be pretty experienced and have radio shows, and you do mornings in like a smaller market and then sort of work your way up to a Pittsburgh sized market. I think I was 21 and Bob was 22, right? I think Bob when we started. So
I just turned 22, yep.
We got pretty lucky in the fact that we started so early because, the age we are now, like around 40, this is when we would typically be getting our own morning show and sort of starting. So the fact that we sort of got like a 17-year jump in Pittsburgh's just amazing. Like, our listeners from day one, they sort of knew that we were a little younger and a little different. And I think we just used that to our advantage because we're always open and honest. We're like, listen, we kind of know what we're doing here, but not really. And our listeners have just grown with us over the years. I mean, we've both been
here. We've been here long enough where people will assume that we always lived here, and like people will approach us and be like, "You went to prom with my aunt," and I'm just like, "No, I didn't at all. I'm sorry." I'm like, "I don't know what fat guy your aunt went to prom with, but it wasn't me."
Yeah, we're both originally from like around the Detroit area, but I mean, we've lived our whole adult life now in Pittsburgh. But it is funny when people do approach us with things like that, like Bob said, just, hey, you went to prom with somebody I know. Like, no, I definitely didn't. Trust me.
So what originally brought both of you to this area? Was it specifically the show? Did that opportunity just arise?
Yeah. We knew the guy who was running KISS at the time, sort of the boss of KISS, and they needed a morning show because it had always been like a syndicated morning show. I think the station had been on for a couple years before we got here, and it was always like a morning show that was syndicated or pre-recorded from, I don't know, they went through a couple random morning shows from different parts of the country, but they wanted like a live local morning show, and we had known the guy who was running KISS, and he just decided that, hey, we were actually doing a night show before that, and he just thought we would be sort of a good fit, and yeah, here we are 17 years later. But yeah, it was definitely the radio show that, sort of brought us to where we are today.
I love it. Well, that's why I loved listening to your show, because it's refreshing. You guys are just fun. I know I'm going to tune in and laugh, and that's how I want to have my morning coffee on the way to work. I want to laugh.
You're probably one of those people too. That's like, I've been listening to you guys since middle school. Just like, that's when you feel really old too. When somebody comes up and tells you, just like, yeah, I've been listening since middle school.
Yeah,
like, oh.
I honestly have.
I know.
I have listened to you guys since I was so young, and my favorite things. I can't remember where the first time that I met you both at, and it may have been one of the KISS Halloween parties.
Yeah, maybe.
Those were so much fun.
Yeah, we had some really good Halloween parties. We had a good run there. We used to have them on the Gateway Clipper. We did some. We did some at Stage AE.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a couple early years at like Station Square where we did some when Station Square was still popping. And yeah, Halloween parties were definitely a lot of fun. But I feel like we got to know you the most just through the Penguin stuff and seeing you constantly. Like, you were one of the few people. I felt like all of us did like Penguins playoff therapy together when we'd see each other, because we knew you had to wake up early in the morning. You knew we had to wake up early in the morning. You would be inside doing your thing, and you would either see us, or sometimes you would be outside because we would host the playoff big screen like viewing parties, and we would see each other, and there was just this sort of common respect of just like, we all were hoping end this in regulation, because those overtime and double overtime games, you're just like, oh my gosh, should I even go to sleep? Because that alarm was coming in like an hour and a half or 2 hours. But I feel like we got to really know you pretty good when all the Penguin stuff was happening.
I know, and that's my favorite part, and I can't wait to just have a normal season, hopefully, and to have you guys back. I mean, when you host your crowds there, you have a fan section, and it was amazing during playoffs, even honestly, like the Halloween-themed game, to see all of your listeners. You had so many people there dressed up with you.
Yeah, our favorite thing is when like other teams look up in the stands in our section. We host a freak show section where the Penguins give us like 100 tickets in one section, or 96 tickets, and we'd invite all the fans with us, or all of our listeners with us that would win, and everybody'd be in costume. So you can imagine like a team like Tampa coming in, and all of a sudden they look up in the stands and there's 100 people dressed in full costume going wild. There's like, what is going on?
I remember there was one game where they played the LA Kings, and it was one of those Halloween games. Yes. And somebody sent us the clip from the Kings like local broadcast in LA, because they got shut out that game, and they did the play of the game, and they said there was nothing good enough to be the play of the game, so they just showed clips of our section. They're just like, we got shut out, there was no goals, so the play of the game tonight is just this section of fans who were just almost uncomfortably loud the entire game. But yeah, the Penguins have been so good to us for so many years. Like, we first started working with the Penguins when we pretty much first started our show, and they have just let us do so many cool things. I think one of the coolest things we did is, hosting the outside stuff at the big screen for the playoffs for so many years was a lot of fun. But when they won the cup in, was that Nashville, Bob? That was the Nashville year, wasn't it? Was that the Nashville year?
Yeah,
16?
Nashville.
Yeah.
No, 17.
For that game 6 where they had the arena sold out for just the viewing party, and they sort of had us
Wasn't
host
that
that.
amazing?
That was like the coolest. Like, we've done a lot of cool things, but that was the thing where it's just like, you literally felt like you were just watching the game with your friends, but it was the sold out arena. And the good thing about the Penguins is, and you know this too, Celina, when they sort of just trust you, they just trust you, and they know you're going to do your thing, and you're going to be professional as much as you can about it, but you're there to have a good time and everything. But just the fact that they sort of basically gave us live microphones with 18,000 people when the Penguins could have won the Stanley Cup and did win the Stanley Cup. That was one of the greatest nights we've ever had. Ever. That was so much fun.
You guys made it so much fun in there. And yeah, it was crazy to think that they weren't even playing there. It wasn't a home game, but you would think that they were because it was so packed and so loud. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I remember people just throwing us Stanley Cups, like homemade Stanley Cups, from upper sections. It was just wild. It was a wild night.
Yeah, it was good.
I remember I was doing a story on it. I was covering it, and I went outside right after we won. That was not a good idea. I got trampled on.
Yeah.
I was on the ground real fast. But good times. Great memories.
A lot of fun.
Well, for those listening right now who may not know, you guys also have a podcast. I know that keeps you pretty busy as well. So where can listeners find the podcast?
Everywhere. No, I mean, the iHeartRadio app, because that's, obviously our company, but Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast, just search Mikey and Bob, and we're on there. But yeah, we always tell people, and we've been doing this long enough before podcasting to really date ourselves here, but it always used to be almost not fun for us if somebody didn't hear the show live, that was it. If you missed our show in the morning, or you missed something funny and you maybe went into work and heard somebody, did you hear Mikey and Bob talking about this? And they were just like, oh no, I was at work already by then. That stuff was just gone, to never be heard from again. So now it's so cool with just podcasting, and just everything around podcasting has just exploded to where we just take our show, we edit out all the songs because we do play, some music during the show. So you just get me and Bob talking. So it's really just the Mikey and Bob podcast. And it's just so cool because there'll be some times where people will move out of the city from Pittsburgh or something and be like, oh, I can't listen to you guys anymore. And be like, no, what are you doing? Of course you can listen to us. Everybody can listen to us now from wherever they are with our podcast. So it's sort of cool to see the evolution of radio and podcasting to whereas when we first started the show, like I said, if you weren't there and you didn't hear it live, sorry. But now it's just we have people that are catching up on our podcast, and they're a month behind us or 2 weeks behind us, and they'll just be talking to us about stuff. So our show is an endless loop of show now, because
there's plenty of times where people tweet us and I'm just like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And I'll have to trace in my head back oh, that's a podcast from 2 months ago. It's okay, let me write back to them. Finally figured it out.
Yeah.
But it's cool because that's kind of how I listen to podcasting too, is you may have a couple podcasts that you're ready for whenever they put a new episode out and you're right there. But, some podcasts you might be like, oh, I'll catch up on that whenever I have time. So a lot of people, they might not listen to the podcast every day as soon as it comes out. But a lot of times we'll get people who will just binge listen on the weekends when they're out, doing something, driving around, mowing the grass, and they'll just blow through a week of shows. And then they'll start tweeting us about it, or, getting in touch with us and being like, we'll have to remember to be like, I don't even remember. What were we doing on Monday's show? Because somebody's talking to us about Monday right now. But it's cool. We love it.
I love that too. That's how I am. I'll go to the track and just play podcast after podcast. It's the best. But wait, before we go, I am way too excited for this. We end the podcast every week by singing the jingle. but today we get to sing it with the creators. I can't believe this. It's going to be the best one yet, hands down.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
I know. I'm actually kind of nervous for this too. I mean, we all got to get like in sync too, right? Like we got to. Yes. I mean, that is going to be the most difficult thing here because we're not in person, so there might be a slight little delay here. I feel like we can do it though. I feel like we can do it.
I think we can too. So I'll count us down, and we can, do our best. I think it's going to be great.
Oh man!
So you guys ready?
I'm coming with feeling here.
You count us down and you start us, and then we'll jump in. All right?
Okay.
Ready.
Here we go, guys. In 3, 2, 1.
Ooooo Armina Stone. Yeah, we can do that better. No, we can do that better.
Yeah, I think we. The heart out. We just ruined the heart out.
That was beautiful. I love it. You guys are so good.
It was good. Maybe it was good.
No, we can do. Let's do it again. Let's do it one more time.
Edit it in.
Celina's making the call. Let's do it again.
Okay, take 2. 3, 2, 1.
Ooooo Armina Stone.
Oh, that was good.
Baby.